Welcome to House of Hollingsworth. I'm Kate, and today or this week I'll be making over my sister's bedroom. So let me give you a little tour and talk you through some of the issues they have with the room and how we're going to fix it. So first of all, there's a big window along this wall, and this wall is where they have their bed. It's up against this wall, which isn't the best location to put the bed in front of a window, but we're going to counteract that with curtains, thick curtains all the way behind it, and a big solid headboard. Another issue is that the window is not central to the wall. See how there's more wall that side than there is this side? So we're going to fix that, not by moving the window, but by having curtains all the way across the wall, so that when the curtains are open the same amount, you won't be able to see how much wall is hiding beneath it. Another thing that we're going to change, is that there's a doorway here. No, we're not removing the doorway. We're going to hide it because they don't need a doorway out to this balcony because they've got another one just inside there. So what we're going to do is not only cover this wall with curtains, we're going to put a curtain along this wall a little way as well. And to make it symmetrical, we're also going to do one on this wall. So the whole sort of end of that wall will be wrapped with curtains. So let's get started. We've got a lot of patching and cleaning and priming before we can get to any of the fun stuff. So we've got some substantial cracks, and we've also got some hairline cracks. We've got some big holes where the old blinds anchors were. So for the hairline cracks, I'm just going along and cutting them a little bit deeper so that when I plaster over them, the plaster's got something to fill. So anywhere that's got a crack, I'm just making it a little bit bigger, like that, and I'll plaster over it. For the really big cracks, I'm going to put concremate in those. These really big cracks are caused by the foundation shifting. Filling the cracks won't fix the foundation problem, so if there's further shifting, they may get more cracks on the wall over time. I'm using my miracle wipes to clean the walls and skirtings. A lot of dust is created in bedrooms due to all the soft furnishings and clothes, but as well as that, walls just get grubby over time. We want a nice clean surface for the paint to stick to, so it's really important to wash over every surface. I removed all the switch covers so I could prime and paint those the same colour as the walls. Some of the old plates had yellowed over time, and I could have bought new ones, but I really like the look of a painted cover or even a wallpapered switch cover if you're wallpapering a room. So yeah, I went ahead and painted them. After cleaning, I scuff sanded the skirtings and door frames and then wiped the dust off. Then came the very satisfying job of vacuuming up all the mess I'd made. I could have put drop sheets down first, but I usually reserve drop sheets for wet mess like plaster and paint. I'm using my portable wet-dry Azedo vacuum to give the carpet a really deep clean. I always take this vacuum with me on jobs because it's compact and lightweight, but it's also really powerful and can handle both wet and dry mess. Okay, I have washed all of the walls and the ceiling and the trim. I've washed everything. I've vacuumed up all the mess that I made. Now I'm going to tape off around the carpet and the trim And I'm going to lay drop sheets before I do any patching, painting, anything like that. Because I'm painting the skirting boards and I obviously don't want to get paint on the carpets, I'm just taping the carpet off. So leave a little overlap here and then push it underneath the skirting board like that, because there's a gap underneath there. And that way we can paint all the way down to the very bottom of the skirting board without the paintbrush, without the paint getting onto the carpet fibres. I'm using a fast drying cork to fill any gaps around the skirtings and cornices. Just squeeze some out and wet wipe it smooth. Make sure you're using a paintable cork too. If you're using a non-paintable cork, like the kind you would use to seal a shower, then the paint will just bead off it and the entire thing will look awful. I'm using Zinsser Bullseye to prime the skirtings. This primer is good for adhesion, so it's going to be like a grippy layer in between the old glossy paint and the new glossy paint. Okay, so all of the trim work, the skirting, the door frames, everything has been primed now. And while that's drying, I'm going to turn my attention to filling in these giant cracks and holes above the window. So all I'm doing is squeezing the concremate into this gap. I want to fill the gap completely as best I can. So I'm just really pushing it in there and then scraping off the excess. I'm sorry, I don't think I showed you what product I'm using. I'm using concremate to fill the deep holes and that deep crack, because concremate sets harder than concrete. And so if I wanted to put an anchor, if I wanted to drill a hole and put an anchor in exactly the same spot sometime in the future, it will be safe. It'll hold it because it's super, super strong and hard. Whereas if I were to fill these big spots with just plaster, if I drilled into it, it wouldn't grip the anchor strongly. Now, before I fill in these small cracks with plaster, I'm going to give them a coat of peel stop, and this sort of seals around the edges of the paint so that the paint doesn't peel off at the edges. So I'm going to put a liberal coating of peel stop along any of the cracks before I fill them in. While the peel stop is drying, I'm going to start painting the trim work. I'm using Dulux Aquenamel, which is a water-based paint designed to be hard wearing, so it's great for skirting boards and doors and door frames, anything like that. All right, first coat of blue is on all of the trim. Coverage is good, but you know, first coat always looks terrible, especially if you're doing a dark coat over a light paint or vice versa. Like, it looks terrible, but I'm secretly hopeful that this is only going to take 2 coats. I'm just using Rapid Patch to patch all the small cracks and holes. Just make little batches at a time, add water, whip it up to a consistency where it's not running off the spatula. And then, yeah, pop it on and smooth it off. When it dries, you can give it a quick sand. Okay, I have finished painting all of the trim. It took 3 coats to get good coverage. And now I've also done 2 coats of plaster, sanding after both coats. I have rebuilt that piece of the cornice that had holes in it. And now I need to prime these bare patches before I paint. So I'm going to get the priming done today, and I'm not going to get started on the painting today. That's tomorrow's job. This is what that piece of cornice looks like after taping and plastering. And this is what it looks like after priming. It's painting day. I don't know if I've told you or not, but we're painting the whole room the same color. So this dark blue that's on the door frames and the skirting, that's the same blue that's going to be on the walls and ceilings. So I've done all of the trim in a semi-gloss, and now I'm doing a low sheen for the rest of the room, and we're going with this top color, which is Rainmaker. And I've brought Jazz with me today to help me paint, because painting is so much quicker and easier if one person can be cutting in and the other person can be rolling. And I want to smash out 2 coats of the room in one day, so 2 people. Jazz is doing all the rolling and I'm doing all the cutting in. And when I'm rolling a ceiling, I like to do the first coat parallel to the main window and then the second coat perpendicular to the main window. That way, if you leave any roller lines, they'll be traveling away from the window like rays of light, so they'll be much less noticeable. I've taken down the air vents to spray paint at home, and then we ended up painting the cover that sits in the ceiling just with a brush while we painted the ceiling. Oh my goodness, it's fabulous. I love it so much. In different lights, it changes from being a super bright blue to a super dark blue to like a slate gray. It's so good. I'm just going to show you how we create a corner curtain rod bracket out of these simple IKEA brackets. We use one bracket with two hooks on it. So one of the hooks is in the normal orientation so that the rod runs through it like that. So this is the wall. Imagine the floor is the wall. We've screwed it to the wall like that, and we've got a rod coming through here, and this is the other wall, and we've got a rod going through here. So this little piece is in the actual slot of the bracket. This piece is not fitted into this slot here. It's just screwed on, but it's sticking out a little bit. So that's how we create a corner bracket for two rods. This is what it looks like installed. You can see that one rod can fit in here and the other rod can sit in there, and then we can have curtains along this wall and curtains along this wall. This is a rug I got off Marketplace for an absolute steal. I think I paid $100 for it and it costs $800 new. And I just washed and dried it and it was as good as new, honestly. Marketplace is the place to get furniture and furnishings. I also got this glorious sleigh bed off Marketplace. It was a real pain to assemble, but we got there in the end. Believe it or not, it was even redder when I bought it, and I gave it a coat of tinted varnish to darken the colour a little. It still looks very red here in the natural light, but once the curtains go up, it's more of a nice rich brown colour. We ended up buying this bed for $300, and brand new, I can see it listed for $6,500. Now, we discussed buying new bedside tables, but these were perfectly functional, so I ended up just giving them a quick makeover. These are the IKEA Hemnes bedside tables. They're solid pine with a classic shape. You can't go wrong with Hemnes. I gave everything a good clean, and then I scuff sanded and cleaned again. Make sure you clean inside as well, because the drawers and runners get really dusty over time. This is the little palm sander I'm using for all the scuff sanding. It's handy for getting into corners and small spaces. I'll link it below if you're interested. I push the runners up out of the way so I don't get paint on them while I'm painting. And then I removed the drawer fronts. I don't know if you can see it, but with these type of bolts, there's an arrow and a triangle engraved on the top. You screw it in the direction of the arrow to lock it, or screw it so the triangle points to the drawer front to unlock it. I line all 4 triangles up with the drawer front, and then I can just wiggle the front right off. Now that the prep work is done, I'm ready to paint, but I just can't leave well enough alone. So I found a scrap of pine moulding and I cut a few pieces off so that I can attach them to the front of the legs. I feel like the curve of this trim mimics the curve of the sleigh bed. Probably nobody but me will notice, but I really love adding extra little details like that. I glued and nailed them on, and then I caulked the seams. Then I primed both bedsides with Zinzabin. This was the first time I've tried using Zinzabin in a spray can, and I have to admit, I'm not a fan at all. I found it was really difficult to control the flow, so I'll be going back to Zinzabin from a tin from now on. Next, I loaded up my spray gun with the water-based enamel paint and gave everything its first coat.
I love using my spray gun because it's so quick and it gives better coverage than a brush or a roller. But unfortunately, I was heavy-handed on one section. I sprayed too much and it dribbled. It happens. I grabbed my palm sander and sanded it smooth. Make sure you feel it with your fingers. If you can feel any lumps or ridges, you haven't sanded enough. I gave everything a quick sand with 400 grit paper, wiped it clean, and then sprayed on the second coat. I had to go back and spray a third coat just on that one side that I stuffed up as well. Now the drawers already have lovely striped liners, but there's a few grotty marks and I wanted to update them, so I'm using this fabulous blue and gold peel and stick wallpaper. It was so easy to recover the drawer bottoms while they were disassembled like this. I'm covering the windows with 8 IKEA curtain panels. Did you know that these long floppy IKEA tags can just rip right off without ripping a hole in the product? They're designed to be easily ripped off. I'm going to create a pinch pleat look for these curtains by simply using curtain hooks that allow a pinch of fabric between each prong of the hook. So I push one prong in, then I lean the hook over to push the other prong in a little ways down. This creates the pinched look. So the curtains are up. I'm loving them. I'll show you how dark it is if I turn off the light. Like, these are true blockout curtains. And now I just need to hem the bottom of them. I'm using the existing artwork that they had hanging in the bedroom originally, and I just love how these two pieces look now against the dark blue walls. They're just so perfect. Happy days. The lamps are here, the brass handles are here, the robe hooks are here, and I'm hemming curtains. So I'm going to wrap it all up today. Let's go. So this one I've hemmed already. See how it swings freely. It's not actually touching the floor. And this one here is pooling. Well, I don't like this puddle look. I find that it just means the bottom of your curtains gets really dirty. So I'll take this one down and hem it as well. I'm just doing such a quick, easy job of it. I sort of fold it over like that to where it lines up with this ridge of the skirting board, and I use my fingers to determine like how far it is. We chose a mismatched pair of lamps for this room. My sister chose a curvy wooden base and her husband chose a glass geometric base, but because both the lamps are the same size and colour, I think they make a really great pair. Now, before I show you the finished room, I need to remind you of how uninspiring their bedroom used to look. It is the saddest, beigest bedroom there ever was. Can you stand it? Are you kidding me? Oh, I've outdone myself. Look at these fabulous porcelain-tipped brass robe hooks, the colour-drenched walls, the ceiling. Everything creates a moody feel, and the wraparound curtains and high bedhead create a safe, cozy space, even though the headboard is against a massive window. The lamps are gorgeous. The bedside tables look fresh and new. And I love the extra little trim detail I added. The sleigh bed is perfect for this dark, cozy room. And we added new bedding in dark plaids and stripes. The warm-coloured light bulbs cast a cozy glow around the room, and the vintage-style rug adds a bit more interest to the beige carpet. I'm so incredibly happy with how this room turned out. I hope you enjoyed watching my sister's bedroom makeover today. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.